So with all the new Steam users and even a lot of veteran players that don't understand, I thought I'd make a video detailing a bit more and explaining the PvP system and how the flagging system works. First, we need to understand the different states that a player can be. By default, you're a non-combatant. Usually this is referred to as white or green. While you are a non-combatant, you can still be attacked by other players. This does not turn PvP off. Then we have combatant, commonly referred to as being purple. You are now flagged for PvP and other players can attack you. And lastly we have corrupted, or being red. You become corrupted by murdering a non-combatant player. If you are corrupted, you can be attacked by anyone, even those who are not flagged for PvP. So with that out of the way, let's talk about how we move between these states. Right now, there is a lot of confusion around the force flag PvP setting. This is a setting within the game that allows you to force PvP onto someone else. What this does not do is turn PvP on or off. PvP is always enabled. You can be attacked by anyone at any time. You can tell that force PvP has been enabled because this icon will be glowing. If you have the force PvP flag turned on, you can now initiate combat with a non-combatant. If you damage another player, you will then turn into a combatant, or turn purple. Once you have turned purple, I would recommend turning off your force PvP flag. Now your opponent has to make a choice. Do they want to fight back, or do they want to ignore you? If they do decide they'd like to fight you, they do not have to turn on their force PvP flag, because you are already a combatant. If, however, they choose they do not want to engage with you, you have two options. Firstly, you can accept that this guy does not want to fight you. Or, you can turn your force PvP flag back on and murder them. You will then be corrupted. Any player can now freely attack and kill you with no penalty. Even non-combatants can attack you and they will not turn purple. Now that we understand the system, let's talk about settings. Under gameplay and combat, we have the PvP settings. Require force PvP to use harmful abilities on combatants. Require force PvP to use helpful abilities on unaffiliated combatants. And include untargeted combatants with area of effect abilities. Now, if you're not looking to do any PvP at all, these are the settings you're going to want. This means that no matter what, you will never target a combatant and thus turn yourself into a combatant unless you hit the force PvP flag. A lot of players are making the mistake of using these settings to actually do PvP. Doing this means you are required to be force flagged to attack a combatant or a purple player. And as we know, with the force flag turned on, you can attack anyone, even non-combatant players. And this is what leads to people ending up accidentally corrupted. These players will tell you to untick the include untargeted combatants with area of effects. However, if you have this unchecked, if you use an area of effect ability, it will only harm one player, and that's not ideal for PvP. There is never really a downside to allow untargeted combatants to be targeted with area of effect. This setting should always be left on. Also, the second option here, require force PvP to use helpful abilities on unaffiliated combatants. We always want this to be on. With this on, you have to be force flagged to help unaffiliated combatants, which is basically the enemy, anyone not in your party. We want this to remain locked behind the force flagging so we don't accidentally heal the people we're trying to kill. Now, if you do want to PvP, these are the settings you're going to want. Require force flag to use harmful abilities, off. With these settings, you'll be able to attack any player that is purple, and you will never accidentally go corrupt by harming a non-combatant player. However, that does leave some issues. You've got auto-retaliate turned on all of the time. This is essentially how you turn PvP on. You won't be permanently running around flagged for PvP as a purple player, but anytime somebody attacks you and turns themselves into a combatant, you will then be able to immediately attack them back. If you do want to initiate combat with somebody else, This is when you would turn your force PvP flag on to attack a non-combatant, turning yourself purple, and then making sure you turn your force PvP flag back off immediately and wait for their response. Your force PvP flag is essentially a button that says, hey, I would like to attack a non-combatant player. It should never be used unless you want to either go corrupt or initiate a fight. Now, because we have include untargeted combatants with area of effect abilities, the problem here is anyone that does want to fight you can just walk up to you, smack you, and then stand inside your abilities, and that will flag you for PvP. And if you do check require force flagging to attack combatants, you leave yourself at risk to accidentally AoE a non-combatant and turn corrupt when you don't intend to. So what is the solution here? Well, it's quite simple. And the answer is not to force flag. Again, force flagging only allows you to attack non-combatant players. This can cause nothing but problems if you're trying to do open world PvP. As tedious as it sounds, if you want to toggle PvP on and off, while staying extremely safe from corruption baiting, you're going to want to open up the options and toggle these options on when you do not want to fight. And if you do want to fight, you simply turn them off. Ideally, eventually, these settings have their own hotkey. But until then, this is the best way to use the PvP system. Hopefully this has made a little bit of sense. A lot of people have been getting this wrong. Even veterans that have been playing this for a very long time still get this wrong. And they rely heavily on the force flag PvP. They'll do this and then turn off untargeted AoE, which, as you can imagine, just completely nullifies your AoE damage. And that still leaves you open to accidentally clicking or tab targeting a non-combatant and killing them, or their horse. Is this solution perfect? No. I really wish there was just a button that forced you to go purple, or even a hotkey that just says, I do not want to attack non-combatant players. Like a reverse version of the force PvP flag, which actually forces you to be good. But that's not what we're testing right now. And quite frankly, it's not really that important. So hopefully this has shed some light on how the system works, and will stop you guys from ending up in situations that you weren't intended to be in. I am WD, and good luck out there.